like, damn, it's a girl and a boy. So I'm walking. I get close. I see it's him. Like, we lock eyes and shit.
Yeah.
And it was up after that. Started getting it on. Like, well, we didn't really get it on. Like, I beat the shit out of him. I ain't gonna cap.
Distant ops can get your name buzzing fast, but Bronx rapper SW had already built his rep the hard way, through years of chaos, loyalty, and street scars. The Bronx scene been heating up again, and when things get that hot, someone always ends up paying the price. What went down outside that parole office was straight madness, something out of a movie. On October 15th, 2025, SW had to check in with his parole officer around 5 p.m. in the South Bronx. Fresh off his 2024 release, he probably thought it was the safest spot he could be. I mean, who's bold enough to slide on somebody right in front of a government building? But the streets don't care about no cameras or cops. They only care about payback. A woman nearby spotted 3 masked men creeping up before SW even stepped out the door. She called the police right away, but before they could even get there, SW walked out, and the shooters pounced. They ran him down right there on the sidewalk, shots flying in broad daylight like it was nothing. SW dropped instantly as the masked dudes sprinted off into traffic, disappearing before sirens could echo through the block. SW's own parole officer came running out, panicking and yelling for help, covered in shock.
Next thing you know, like, I'm in my cube one day, laying down and shit. I get caught I would get cut over the cube.
Wow.
For me, so like my first reaction, I'm not thinking I'm cut. So when I touch my face, it's like, oh, I feel the blood. I feel the blood, so I just start banging out.
The police arrived within minutes, trying to save him, but it was too late. He was gone before the night even started. The whole Bronx lit up online when the news broke. Now here's where it gets grimy. C Blue was quick to hop online, throwing shots and laughing about SW's death, and even Lil TJ, one of the Bronx's biggest stars, had dissed him before. That's when things really spiraled. The Bronx drill scene might have slowed down after those Rico sweeps, but that energy never died. It's just waiting for someone to light the fuse again. Word is, an OG from Drill East, who's still behind bars, already called for revenge. He wants his people outside to move for SW. Make sure his name doesn't fade away like smoke in the wind. SW wasn't the biggest rapper out the Bronx, but his name held weight in those streets. He'd been there since day one when SP Drillin' first built that movement, repping the block through every war and loss. Now his death has everybody on edge, wondering who's next, and if this cycle of Bronx drill bloodshed will ever stop. The Bronx drill scene been crazy for years, but it all traces back to one name that changed everything: spazzing.
I seen her one time, like throughout the 4 years, I seen her one time and shit.
Yeah.
So, and it was closer to when I was getting released. I seen her in May, like right before my birthday and shit.
Yeah.
So when I seen her, it was like the second time I really seen her in a while.
Back then, a lot of dudes from a Bronx block called G-Side were locked in with the Bloods, repping the Howl Brims heavy. Spazzing and his right-hand man Dumb Out were both Brims real tight from the sandbox. But everything fell apart in 2018 when Dumb Out got stabbed to death at a barbecue, a summer party that turned into a war zone in seconds. That moment flipped everything for G-Side. Dumb Out's death caused chaos, and Spaz spiraled. He channeled that pain into the streets, forming what would later become the Drills. His homie SW grew up right beside him and started repping the Drills from day one. SW wasn't just about talk, he was outside, putting in work in the trenches while Spaz was cooking up heat in the studio. Spaz had been making music since 2016, but when 2020 hit, he blew up with his breakout track Bunny Hop, the one that set off the new Bronx drill wave. The energy, the beat, the attitude, it put their whole side on the map. SW wasn't even trying to rap at first, but one day in the studio, Spaz told him, "Hop on this beat." So SW pulled out his phone, opened the Notes app, and wrote a verse right there on the spot. That's how they dropped Ops Spotter featuring Spaz and Good Day Ray, and that track went wild in the Bronx. SW came straight for K-Flock's hood with raw disrespect in his bars. He rapped, "You was at home forfeit. I was on the Ray off it. He throw up thumbs off it. Got him." Then doubled down by calling K-Flock out by name, spitting,
"Oh nah, I'm jacking him. Yo, that nigga was holding on to his bike for dear life. He knew, sir."
"Why that cappin'? Like we don't carry heat and we've been in the streets." According to SW, he really caught K-Flock lacking back in the day and beat him down in his own hood. When he came home from jail in 2024, he did an interview with P Films detailing everything. He said he was dropping someone off near Stepside one morning and decided to slide through the block just to see what was moving. He walked around for a bit, didn't see any ops, and then out of nowhere, he spotted K-Flock walking down the street with a girl. SW claimed he ran up, beat K-Flock in a building, and left him leaking. He even tried to get the security footage from the building to post it online, but said he could never get his hands on it. Still, that story spread like wildfire. Whether folks believed it or not, it made his name ring louder. And it wasn't just K-Flock. SW claimed he also caught Lil TJ lacking back before TJ made it big. According to SW, he and his homies stomped him out and snatched his chain, and later even dissed him in a verse, saying, "Jay got robbed, Loose got robbed, I can't be stopped." His track Ops Spotter with Spaz and Good Day Ray kept running up numbers online. But just when SW was finally catching a wave, his freedom got snatched again. Before the fame could hit, he got locked back up. Another setback in a life full of them. Back in 2018, he'd already done time for a gun charge, and ever since, it's been in and out of the system. SW had all the street credit, all the war stories, and all the energy the Bronx drill game feeds on. But like too many before him, the same streets that built his legend would eventually lead to his downfall. When SW came home, it looked like he might finally get a second shot. But trouble was waiting right around the corner. Just a few months later, in February 2019, he got booked again, this time for attempted murder. That charge hit heavy, but SW wasn't trying to sit forever. He dropped 50 grand to bond out just a month later, thinking he'd catch a break. But the streets don't let up that easy. Barely 2 months after that, SW got into a fight inside the courthouse and got booked again. Another case, another bond, another cycle. Then, a few months later, boom, arrested again for reckless endangerment. SW couldn't stay free for long no matter how hard he tried. He bailed out once more, managing to stay out for about a year. With all those cases stacked up, he could have easily switched lanes and focused on music.
Yo, Flock. Come outside, Flocka. Come play. Where the bro? Come play. Come play today. You always playing on the internet. I want you to come play today.
He already had buzz from Ops Spotter, and the Bronx drill wave was in full swing. But old habits die hard. Just a couple months after that track dropped, SW got locked up again, this time for years. In 2020, he got booked while still juggling 6 open cases at once. The Bronx DA had been watching, and soon the cops came down harder than ever before. By 2022, things hit a boiling point. The city launched Operation Drilling, a massive investigation aimed at wiping out the drills completely. Cops said the crew was behind over 30 violent acts in just a few years. 20 members were named in the indictment, and prosecutors labeled them one of the most dangerous sets in the Bronx. According to the indictment, the drills nearly stabbed a man to death in 2019 who was just walking home from school, and by 2020, the situation turned darker when a woman named Delilah Vasquez was found shot in the head inside an abandoned building. She wasn't a full member of the crew, but was known around both the YGs and the drills. Rumors flew fast. Some said she got backdoored. Others claimed it was a tragic accident. But what came next was pure disrespect. After her death, Delilah became one of the most disrespected names in Bronx drill. On tracks like Right Now Part 2, C Blue and others dissed her brutally, even mocking Spaz's fallen homie Dumb Out with savage bars. How many ops done died? Delilah got put in the sky. Heard that Lil Chick got shot in her eye. Now that Lil Chick can go be with Dummy. Tried to run up. Boy, he was a dummy. The drills denied all the backdoor rumors and on his track. Back on my bully, SW fired back with emotion and pain, saying, "R.I.P. Lila, that shit had me sick. That shit be wrong when they talk about sis. So we spin in the peas, looking for the rips. So we spin in the peas looking for a hit." SW was locked up while most of that bloodshed unfolded, but his name was still tied to everything. If his case went bad, he was facing 15 years in prison. The state tried to cut deals, first 10 years, then 8, but SW refused both times. He wanted to fight it out in court. Finally, in 2023, the prosecutors offered a 4-year plea deal, and that's when he finally gave in. He'd already served most of that time waiting for trial, so taking the deal meant just 1 more year inside. At first, jail wasn't too rough. He was surrounded by familiar faces, other members of the drills who'd been picked up too. But once he signed the plea and got transferred upstate, everything changed. That's where things got dangerous. SW thought he was cool with a few dudes from another block, but one day they tried to backdoor him inside the prison. He ended up getting slashed across the face. Somehow, he survived that close call and kept his head down till his time was up. When he finally got out in 2024, he told P-Films that the first thing he did as a free man was go see his daughter. After years of chaos, jail fights, and betrayal, that moment reminded him there was still something real waiting for him outside. The Bronx streets. Doing time didn't change SW, not one bit. Prison didn't break him or make him slow down. It only hardened him. The minute he got out, he jumped right back into the trenches like he never left. But the Bronx he came home to wasn't the same. The drill scene that once had the city on fire had cooled off big time. Still, SW hit the booth again, dropping bars filled with rage and pride, letting the world know he was still Big Drill. On his track, Back on My Bully, he rapped with that same raw energy that made people fear and respect him. Don't mess with no flock, 'cause you know I'm Big Drill. Empty the clip if I spot me a rippy. I just came home and I spent me a 50. Fun a label, I got my own milli. Then, in 2025, he doubled down with another track, Exposing Me, showing that even after everything, prison, scars, betrayals, he was still talking his talk. He spit, I'm getting money, I don't wanna see y'all. Dudes keep dying, I don't wanna be y'all. Free all the bros who ain't get low, who got shot like who got poked. Be with the G's, be with the gloves. I don't rock with them dudes that's jackin'. It was pure Bronx heat, disrespectful, and fearless. By then, SW was in his late 20s, a father, but still living wild like the old days. Even with a daughter at home, he was still crashing out, sometimes for the smallest reasons. One time, he was walking through a local park and heard someone playing ops music on a speaker. Instead of brushing it off, SW walked right up, put hands on the dude, and later clowned him on Instagram. In an interview, SW even laughed about it, saying it went down at the same park where he once beat up Lil J years earlier. That was just the kind of energy he brought everywhere he went. SW didn't just talk street, he lived it non-stop. At one point, he allegedly ran over one of his ops with a car and bragged about it online. A few months before his death, he even knocked someone out in the middle of the street, got the security footage, and posted it like a trophy. But it wasn't always enemies catching his wrath. Sometimes it was people from his own block. One day he spotted a local dude who'd given someone from the ops side a safe pass through their area. SW took that as full-blown betrayal. He kicked the guy down the street in front of everyone and spit on him, yelling that no one in the drill should ever show mercy. As the streets started whispering, rumors spread fast that SW might have been backdoored by his own people. But insiders and members who are still locked up claim otherwise. They say whoever's really repping Drill East should be sliding and getting revenge for SW's death. The word from inside is clear. If you're really jacking Drill East, you better move for SW. Even though most of the drill's top names are behind bars, they still got shooters outside, keeping the name alive. But that doesn't hide the fact that the movement took some heavy hits. Spaz, the founder and the heart of the crew, got locked up right after he and SW dropped Ops Spotter back in 2020. He was just hitting his stride when he killed a man named James Rivera that July and ended up with a 15-year sentence. After Spaz went down, Lee Drill became the new face of the crew, keeping their name alive with viral tracks and reckless social media callouts. He was running up crazy numbers online and allegedly sliding into rival hoods, taunting his enemies like he was untouchable. But then, during Operation Drilling, Lee got caught too, booked and handed a 6-year sentence, with the main faces of the drills locked away one by one. Their momentum in the rap game died out quick. The Bronx drill energy that once fed their fame was fading, and when SW came home, the streets weren't the same anymore. No label deals, no real money coming in, just a name with history and enemies everywhere. Instead of rebuilding through music, SW drifted back into the only world he knew, the streets. And that's what led to the tragedy that would end his story for good.